So help with homework number 2 in this video. Homework number 2 is all about balancing equations. Now balancing equations is something a lot of students tell me they can't do and then they close down to it. Well, balancing equations is not going to go away. It's going to be all over your final GCSE exam. And if you can't do it, you can't do it yet. You just need to practice a bit more. It's just a game. And the more you play the games, the better you get at them. Okay, so there's two tasks essentially you have to do with these questions. The first task is easier than the second task, and the first task is worth more marks on a balancing equations question, so there's no excuse for not writing something down. So it says calcium reacting with oxygen to make calcium oxide. The first task is we've got to actually write these substances in an equation. We don't have to balance it, we've just got to write them down. Okay, so calcium, if you don't know the formula for calcium or the symbol for calcium, then you have to go to the periodic table to find that. Okay, so calcium is here in group 2, and it has the formula Ca. Okay, so we're going to write there. Calcium. And it's going to react with oxygen. Now remember we have these diatomic molecules. That is, these elements that don't, when they're on their own, aren't on their own. They exist in a partnership, and oxygen is one of them. So that's going to be O2. Now if you can't remember those, which elements those are, they are non-metals and they're in an upside down L shape. Okay, and this starts here: iodine, bromine, chlorine, fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen. If ever we write those, any of those, okay, in an equation, we have to write them as a 2 if they're on their own. Okay, if they're bonded with another element, not necessarily. For example, water is H2O. We're not going to write that H2O2 because the oxygen is with hydrogen. Just if oxygen is on their own. So nitrogen is N2, oxygen is O2, fluorine is F2, chlorine is Cl2, bromine is Br2, and iodine is I2. So it's that upside down L, and of course there's one exception to the rule, and that's hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen's the only other one. So hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Always as 2, please. Always as 2. And that gets you 1 mark. This is a 3-mark question, and just writing that gets you 1 mark. You haven't balanced anything. Okay, now, next mistake, all right, to make calcium oxide. So many students think to themselves balancing is more important than writing substances, and they are wrong. So what they will see is they've written calcium and oxygen over here, and they will write CaO2 on this side, and that is of course hopelessly wrong. And they think they're going to get themselves a balancing mark because they say it's balanced, and they're not. You can't have a balancing mark if you've written the formulae wrong. That's not right. Okay, so just because that's O2 there doesn't mean it has to be CaO2. That's wrong. The product formula is given here for you, CaO. And quite sometimes in balancing equation questions, they do give you these formulae. And when that's the case, all you have to do is read the question and write it down. So writing the product formulae correctly gets you 2 marks. You can now access the 3rd and final mark. Now I'll help you with this one. You can do a lot of these others on your own. If there's 1 calcium here, I would always start with the first thing here. And there's 1 calcium there. There's 1 calcium there, so the calcium is balanced. You think you just have happy days. Okay, move on. Oxygen. There's 2 oxygens there, O2. There's no number after the oxygen here, so there's a 1. Okay, so that's not balanced. 2 oxygens, 1 oxygen. Now the only place we can write balancing numbers is before substances, and they are big numbers. So 2 oxygens there, we're going to need 2 oxygens there. We can't put a little 2 in there. That's not allowed, remember. Never mess with the little numbers. Big 2, please. Big 2. And happy days, that's now balanced. Oxygen, 2 oxygens there, 2 oxygens there. You think, right, I'll move on to the next one, I got my 3rd mark. Well, you haven't, okay, because in adding that big 2 there, yes, we changed the oxygen, but yes, we also changed the calcium. So we need to come back to this side and change the calcium. Okay, question number 2, hydrogen reacting with oxygen. Remember the diatomic molecules? Okay, write them out. That gets you 1 mark. Product. Okay, we need a formula for the product. Well, you may be thinking to yourself, but I haven't been given a formula for the product. I don't know the formula of the product. Well, this is where you've just got to calm down, stop and think. A compound of hydrogen and oxygen, H and O. We've heard of that, haven't we? Water, H2O. So that's our product, of the formula of our product, and that's your 2nd mark, and then you balance it. Next one, sodium reacting with chlorine. Write the reactants out. Remember the diatomic molecules that we talked about a moment ago. Well, okay. And the product, sodium chloride. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I haven't been given this product. Well, go back to homework 1. Go back to homework 1. In GCSE chemistry, there are some formulae I just want you to know. Okay, and that's what this homework is about. I think you should know most of these. Okay, there's sodium chloride there. Okay, so I asked you to Google that in homework 1, so go back and do that again. Okay, some of those are more important than others. I'll tell you about that in class. So that's that one. Number 4, iron reacting with chlorine to make iron 3 chloride. Now in your book, I've decided it's unfair not to give you the formula iron 3 chloride. So it's in your book, I'm just writing it down there now. All right, so that's again same as number 3. And let's have a go at a similar one to number 5 together now. Propane, C3H8, burning in air to make carbon dioxide and water. I've given you the formula of propane. Burning in air. Well, if it's burning in air, what's it reacting with? Again, there's a little bit of chemistry. You just need to have a guess out there if you're not sure. So I'm going to do methane. This one here is methane. Okay, methane burning in air. I'm going to do methane burning in air as an example. Okay, it makes carbon dioxide and water. So when it burns in air, it's reacting with oxygen. Now, oxygen is one of these diatomic molecules again, so that's an O2. That gets me 1 mark out of 3. Okay, products, carbon dioxide and water. Again, no form has been given of these two. You're expected to know them. And you'll notice carbon dioxide was up here in homework 1. Okay, you just need to know carbon dioxide is CO2. And water, H2O, you need to know that one as well, but I guess you know it already. That gets you 2 marks out of 3, and we haven't balanced anything. Balancing this out now, 1 carbon here on the left of the arrow, there's 1 carbon on the right of the arrow. So the number and type of atoms on both sides of the arrow needs to be the same. So 1 carbon there, 1 carbon there, that's balanced. H4, 4 hydrogens. H2, 2 hydrogens. Okay, so we need to balance those out. 2 times 2 is 4 hydrogens. 2 oxygens on this side. Now this is a bit more complicated. We've got oxygen here and oxygen here on the right hand side. Now often I'll ask people how many oxygens there are and they'll tell me 2 to start with, and I say no, have you looked everywhere? Because I'm just looking at these 2. And then they say, oh, there's oxygen here as well. So they go 3. 3 is not right either. 3 was right, because there was 2 oxygens there and 1 there, because that's H2O1, of course. Okay, but this 2 here, they forgot that 2. There's now 2 oxygens there. So there's 2 oxygens and 2 oxygens, 4 oxygens. 4 oxygens on the right. So we have 4 oxygens on the left, 2 there. Now that is not the answer to that question. It's just a bit similar to help you. Okay, I'm not doing all your homework for you. Drop me an email if you're struggling.